Can you see me? Good afternoon, everybody who's joining. This is Meghna Butoria from Kolkata, from Makersloft. Anybody who's joined right now, it will be great if you can share your name. Hi, Jyoti. Welcome to this session about blocks. Hi, Raj Lakshmi. It's good to see you. Yes, we're going to start just in about a few minutes. So thank you for joining me. And those who are joining, if you can let me know how old your kids are, I think that would be great. Keep sending me your feedback so then, I can build that into the session today. And also tell me which city are you joining from. So good afternoon and thank you for joining me today. Session is starting in just about a few minutes. It is still 3 minutes to 4 o'clock, so we will start at 4 p.m. sharp. Hi, Mansi. Thank you for joining us. Which city are you joining us from today? If y'all can tell me and how old your child is, that would be great. And also, I would love to know if your kids are already playing with blocks or, you have not used blocks and you want to know more about them. That would be great. Welcome to those who are just joining in. We will start in just about 2 minutes now. Okay, Jyoti, so your child is 5.5 years old. That's great. And you're joining us from Kolkata. That's great. I'm also in Kolkata. And has your child been playing with blocks for a while now? Raj Lakshmi, I'd also like to know about your child. How old is your child or your children? And for how long they've been playing with blocks. And if you already have some questions in mind, do put them in the feed. So I will try my best to answer them. So another couple of minutes, and then we're going to start the session. So I would, before I begin, in fact, I must not forget, I would like to thank FirstCry for this opportunity. Thank you a lot, Ujjwala, for organizing this session. I always enjoy interacting with parents, from across India. So thank you so much for having me over today. And this is a topic that is really close to my heart. So I'd love to, chat with parents about it and hear what they have to say. And hopefully I can, also answer some questions. So looking forward to that. And another minute or so, and then we begin. It's 3:59 by my watch here. So let's see who else is joining us today. Okay, so we have, okay. So we have Mansi from Pune, who has a 10-year-old daughter. And then we have, thank you FirstCry for this message. Thank you. Jyoti's child has been playing with blocks for a bit now, for a year or over. That's great. So keep the comments coming. And what I am going to do is, we are going to begin the session. So hi again. This is Meghna Butoria. My name is Meghna, and I am live here from Kolkata, from my apartment, as we are all in, kind of locked down in our house right now. And again, thank you, FirstCry. Thank you, Ujjwala, for having me over for this session. Today, we're going to talk about blocks and bricks, and how they can help to make your child smarter and much more creative. And I think many of you are probably already using blocks, and many might want to know what are blocks and what is the big deal about blocks. Why is everybody so crazy about blocks and bricks? So we will touch upon all those points. I will be showing you different kind of blocks because there are many different kind of blocks. So we will do all of that. So let me begin. Who am I? A little bit more of an introduction of me. I am the founder of Makersloft. Makersloft is an organization that teaches coding, robotics, 3D printing, building with blocks and Lego, all of that, to children from 2 to 15 years of age. And we teach thousands of children. We have taught, more than 12,000 kids. We teach in schools. We run programs in schools, from 1 all the way up to class 9. And then we also teach at, activity centers, and now, of course, online, to kids all across India. And I started this venture about 5 years ago. So we are this month, in fact, celebrating 5 years of Makersloft. If you want to know more about it, you can visit our website. I'm going to type it right here, Makersloft, if you're interested to know more about it. And we do use blocks quite a bit for our programs, and I will tell you how we do that. Before I started Makersloft, a little bit more about me. I was actually in the corporate world. I lived in and worked in US, in Switzerland. I did my MBA in France, and one of the things which I saw as I worked abroad, I had a lot of colleagues, international colleagues, Americans and Europeans. And then I also had some Indian colleagues. And one of the things that I kind of saw that was very common, and of course, the Indian colleagues were all very smart, I mean, today, Google and Microsoft and so many banks, international banks, are headed by, Indians. So I saw that, my Indian colleagues were very smart. I mean, intelligence is never an issue, pure IQ. But I noticed that there were certain skills that I found some of the Europeans and Americans were better at. And those, in particular, what I found was creative thinking, anything to do with the hands. Always, I found the Europeans and Americans were better than us. And also, in terms of expressing themselves and communicating their ideas, I thought these three things, definitely we Indians can do a better job of that. So when I came back to India about 5 years ago and I started Makersloft, these three things I have kind of embedded into what we do at Makersloft. And this is embedded from 2 years up to 15 years. We teach what we call 21st century skills, and these three are an integral part of 21st century skills. And the way we do that is we teach that through blocks, in fact. Yes, we teach from 2-year-olds to 15-year-olds with blocks. And when I say blocks, I mean like blocks like this, right? This kind of blocks. Now, of course, we are not teaching 15-year-olds with these blocks. There are different kind of blocks. So I will show you that as well today, what I mean, because blocks and bricks is a very broad term. But there are many different varieties. There are many companies out there. There are many kinds of sets that are available and kits. And I will talk all of, all of that. And I'll show you some of the stuff as well I have with me on my table over here. But we use this a lot. So what we do is we teach them by using the hands. So unlike school education or other education, we don't do just rote learning or just lectures. Any programs that we run, whether it is coding or robotics, or it is Lego STEM, or it is making apps, etc. Everything we do, with a lot of these things we do by actually making live projects and building stuff. And we use building because it is something that kids love to do. Kids, naturally, there are two things that kids love to do. They like to build and they like to role play. So with blocks, you get to do both the things. Now, why am I so passionate about blocks? Well, that's because I have seen the benefit of blocks, not just for our students at Makersloft, but also personally in my family. We are a big kind of Lego family, and my kids, not my kids, my sister and my brother's kids, they've all grown up using blocks and bricks, and I've seen how it has benefited them. And I mean, if I talk about myself, I did not grow up with blocks. I don't know how many of you, if you did grow up with blocks, because we didn't have blocks in India at that point when we were growing up. But a lot of my colleagues abroad, they had, blocks is something very old. It has existed, in the Western world for close to 100 years now.
So I did not grow up with blocks and bricks, and yet we did have creativity in our time, right? So, but how did we do that, right? So my mother, was also very passionate about these things to develop. Every parents wanted for their child, and she put us into painting and drawing and music and all kinds of classes, to develop like a creative thinking abilities, and which was good, and it worked, for that time. But in this day and age, I think we need to think more beyond just the 2D aspect of, drawing and painting, and, about developing three-dimensional skills, right? And what do I exactly mean that by that? Let me show you with an example. Okay, so for instance, how do you nurture creativity in a child? Let's do it by an example. Okay, how it was done in like in our days or when I was growing up, and how we could do that differently today. So for instance, let's ask a child. If we ask a child to make a car, right, just draw a car. Okay, so here I have actually already done it, and I'm going to show you on paper. Can you see this? Okay, so this is a car, pretty simple. Okay, nothing. You make the wheels. I made the wheels. You make the upper body, and then you add the windows. Maybe you add a couple of lights, right? And you got a car, right? So that's simple. But when a child does that, they are learning a lot of skills. They are learning fine motor skills, using a pencil. They're learning about shapes. They're learning about some details of the car as well, right? So that's good. It does help in develop some fine motor skills, and basic knowledge of kind of geometry, etc. But imagine now if the same child was asked to make a car with blocks, and I'm going to try to do that right in front of you. So I have a bunch of blocks with me right now over here. So here is a block, here is a block. Okay, so in my drawing I had the body of the car. So I have the body of the car, and I had some wheels. So I'm going to get some wheels. So here is the wheel, and here is the body of, what I could make the body of a car. But hang on, it's just like, I just can't have it like that, right? I mean, a car doesn't. I mean, this falls apart. So I need to have something that I can, attach the wheel to the body of the car. So there's already some difference, because you didn't have to think about all of these things when you were drawing a car. Okay, so there's a little bit more thinking involved. So okay, I need to have a wheel, and in fact I need to have four wheels now, because when I make a car you need to see the four wheels. So I get this, and then I get another wheel. Okay, so I get, but how do I attach the wheel? So I need like something called an axle, right, to attach the wheels to the car. So already I am also thinking, acquiring new vocabulary. I just learned about an axle as something that goes through and then attaches, the wheels on two sides. So I got one wheel, I got another wheel, and then I try to put this in as well to make the car. Okay, so now, oh, but what happened? One wheel is bigger and one wheel is smaller, and the child puts it on the floor, and the child realizes, but this is not going to work. So a car is something that has four wheels that are exactly of the same size. So there's already some more learning, which is different than what we did in drawing. Okay, so then we get more wheels of the different, sizes. Hang on, and then what do you see over here? So this is another wheel. Now, when I look at this wheel, when I am building a car with blocks as opposed to drawing it, I'm actually learning that, oh, the tire is a separate thing. The tire is separate, and then there is a wheel that goes inside it. So there are two more things. So I'm getting much more details about the object than I did when I was simply drawing the car, right? So there is so much more critical thinking that is involved in it. So okay, so now I learned that. And then if you start to build a car, and I just built a car over here, for myself, and then you see how much there is, so much more the child has to learn about depth, about size, about proportion, about balance, uh, and these things are probably gravity. What happens if you kind of leave it, it drops. And there are so many of these things that when you just simply draw on paper a car, you will possibly not learn. right? And in fact, when you're doing all of these things, because you need to get the balance right, and you need to first know that, okay, I need to get the chassis of the car done first and then build the top of it. So there is a logical sequence as well, right? So the child learns how to think much more logically. They learn spatial skills. Now, spatial skills is something, if you've not heard about the term, which is the ability to think in 3 dimensions, right? And that is a skill that is very important today, because we live in the world where you use Google Maps, you're navigating, we are using, we are in virtual 3D worlds. So the spatial skill is what tells us, about depth and height, and, the ability of how one object relates to the other, in terms of size, in terms of distance, if you think about the solar system, for instance, right? So these skills are very important in today's age. You cannot navigate, you can't use a Google map or something, or, the navigation on your car, if you don't have spatial skills. So 3D skills are very important, and that's what you learn by actually building things versus just, in the past, simply drawing things. And in fact, that is something that our government has also realized. If you looked at the new education policy, or the National Education Policy, NEP 2020, that has come out, the government understands the importance of actually getting children to make things and have hands-on learning, and that is an important aspect of it. It's going to come in a lot more in the preschool age as well, because the government also realizes that this is important. I mean, if you look at any of the world leaders, Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, any of them, they talk a lot about the Montessori method. They think it's a very important method. And Montessori method just like simply emphasize the importance of using this kind of blocks, right? So we've developed, spatial skills, critical thinking, logical skills. And to make anything like this, you need concentration. You can't be looking here and there and thinking of something else. So it really helps the child to focus and to concentrate, right? So a lot of skills learned. Now, some of you might just tell me, but wait, why do I need blocks for that? The child can do it with like some stuff lying around in the house. I have like a toilet roll. I have plastic bottles, and they can make wheels with the plastic bottle caps, or they can just make it with paper. They can cut cardboard and make it. And yes, all that is fine. The child can definitely do that. The child can make a car with, just items lying around in the house. But then what's the difference, or what's better about doing it with blocks? So one thing that is different or better is the fact that blocks are very forgiving. So if I made a car and I did something wrong in it, it's okay. It's okay. I can just, open it up and, take off the bricks. I dismantle it and I build it again. But now if you made it with a cardboard, you cut the cardboard, or you pasted like so much of glue or Fevicol on it, you cut the glass bottle, and then it's gone. If you made a mistake, then that's a fatal mistake. It's just there. And well, your mother might give you another bottle, or she might not. And she might just say, as a parent, we might just get angry, and we might just tell them that, okay, you wasted so much of paper, you wasted this, now it's gone, I don't have any more cardboard at home, all of that. But the thing is, when child builds something, when kids make something, they will make mistakes, right? They're just learning, and they have to be given the room to make a lot of mistakes, so that that's how people learn, right? We all learn by making mistakes. And the good thing about blocks is, when you make mistakes with block, it only costs you time and effort. And when kids make mistakes with this, they will dismantle it, and they will fix it, and they will do it by themselves. So they learn how to solve their own problems. They learn how to be more persistent, and they learn tenacity as well, and they learn to own their own problems, because they made some error, and then they fix it. And when they fix it, they realize, oh, wait a minute, okay, so I can also make the car in this way. This could kind of maybe go this way. Oh, I could use this wheel in this way. So they also figure out, okay, so there are many ways to do something, which is quite different than what we might be even taught in school, right? That there is always one right answer. But when you build with blocks and you make things, you realize that there is no one right answer, and there are many, good ways of doing things. In fact, there's nothing wrong. And if you make a mistake, it's all right. You can correct your mistake, and you can do it again.
And this, I think, is a very vital aspect of why building with blocks is, is kind of better than a lot of other kinds of building, right? It is much more forgiving, which is what you need, for a child at this age. Now, you might think, okay, so is that it? Then, I just buy some blocks, and there are different kind of blocks that are available in the market. I just buy blocks and I put it in front of the child, and is that it? Well, that's a way of learning, what we call self-directed learning, where you give kids blocks and they play with it. And the good thing is the blocks are so colorful, they come in lovely, nice colors. So they're very attractive and kids love, and they will make something inevitably with it, with their imagination, which is great, which is what we call, open-ended sensory play. It's all sensory, right? When they kind of press these things together, they're using, all the more senses. They're using the eyes, the touch, they are hearing the click of the sound that you hear, right? So, I mean, research has shown that if all your senses are engaged, then you have much better learning happens. Stronger nerve connections are formed, and then the learning is much more better, as opposed to just sitting in a room listening to a teacher or being told things and you never get to see it, right? Now, you can teach a child A for apple, or you can get the child to make an apple, right? And when they make an apple, they will learn so much more about the shape of the apple, the color of the apple. There is a stem that goes on top of it. Much, much more learning happens, right? So I guess coming back to the question about, should we just leave kids with a bunch of blocks and then hope for learning to happen? And I know in some way a lot of parents also like blocks because kids can play hours and hours with it, and they can leave you alone so you can do your other tasks. You can finish your household chores, you can take a bath, you can do things. But while there is some merit in leaving kids alone with blocks and bricks, research has shown, and we have seen that as well, that if you have a more structured kind of curriculum or guide around it, your child will benefit a lot more from building with blocks. And it could be something as simple as giving them a creative challenge, like we do at our Lego contest. Every Sunday we do that. We have kids from 4 to 15-year-olds who join in, and then we give them something interesting to build. Like last week we told them to build like a stadium. One week we asked them to build anything with 2 colors, or we asked them to build a time machine. And this gives the child some direction, some kind of, okay, if I have to build with 2 colors, how will I build? So it really makes their kind of thinking much more elastic. It gets them to think in new ways or think in different ways. Oh, okay, I don't need so many colors, I could build with 2 colors. Okay, if I have to make a stadium is round, how will I make a round stadium? So we have kids who are working with all these bricks, and they are thinking, okay, but the stadium is oval or round, and how can I make a round wall from straight bricks? And in fact, that's what we teach them as well. But the challenge that you bring to the child's brain, that is more important. So giving them challenging activities is something that you want to do. I am also looking at the questions that are coming in, and I will answer them in a bit. So you give them challenging activities, and what we also do at Makersloft is we have kind of structured worksheets that we have developed. So for instance, if you're teaching math, we teach science, technology, engineering, math, what we call STEM education, through Lego and through bricks and blocks. And we have these kind of worksheets. So every lesson is something where we are teaching them something new. Like, how do you estimate length? Now, a 2-year-old, a 4-year-old is not going to learn about centimeters and meters, etc. The unit of measurement is not important for them. But the ability to be able to estimate, they can estimate the length of a shoe in terms of the number of blocks, right? So something like this, where they estimate it and then they actually go and measure. They put the number of blocks next to a shoe or a bottle of water, and then they find out, how big it is. So we have multiple sheets like this, and then we have flashcards, and activity challenges when we ask them to do certain things. So they learn mathematical concepts, they learn multiplication, division, addition, subtraction, ratio, proportion, fraction, everything with that. There are kits like this with which we teach them the six simple machines. Yes, even 3 4 year olds are learning science with these kind of things. And you might tell me that but science is only for kids, science comes much later in school. But no, science is encountered by kids as young as 1 year old, because science is everywhere around us, right? There is gravity and friction and motion and pull and push. This is concepts that children understand intuitively, qualitatively, qualitative science, what we call it. They might not understand the term inertia, but they understand what happens if you push a car with speed, and then before it stops, it kind of keeps going for some time. So these concepts children will understand before they encounter the term in science in school. So when they do these things with blocks, they learn how to they learn these scientific concepts in a way that is in a way, they learn scientific concepts in a way that they will remember much more better, right? So we teach them using these kind of things. We also have, in fact, because kids like a lot of kind of moving things, and boys love these kind of things. So we have kind of blocks like this as well, where they can make vehicles. And I mean, this is something that kids just don't leave alone. You have the screwdriver, and then they can make a vehicle, and then they know, okay, there is a screwing mechanism, so things can come apart, or you can put them together with these kind of blocks. So there are these kind of blocks also available, and it has a lot of movement. And as you know, any child, they just love stuff, and they love role play, so they love these kind of things. And it's not just play that is happening when they're using this. They actually learning how to they're actually learning many concepts. They're learning about the role of the different people in the community. They are learning about shapes, sizes, of course. They're learning about science concepts and math concepts. Now I'm going to start taking some questions, and let us see. Okay, how does building blocks help develop social skills? Right, that's a very good question. So remember, I told you there are two things that children love to do the most. One is to build, and the other is to to role play, right? Kids like to be, oh, I am this. Either they like to be mother or father, or they like to play superhero characters, etc. So when they build with the blocks, for instance, if a child is making like an ice cream, and this is one of the activities we do, and we have a cafe set, and they build these kind of things. They make an ice cream or a cake, and naturally, even without prompt, children will start making stories, and start talking about it. Oh, I made this ice cream, and I will give it to you, or not, or it is so hot, and I'm having this ice cream, and I will okay, I'll give you one bite, and I made one ice cream or a cake for my mama, for my papa. So when they do all of that, they are developing social skills. And especially in our classes, we teach a group of kids. So when they make these things, they have these stories, they share their stories with others, and then they learn the social skills. They learn about sharing, they learn about interacting with each other, they learn how to communicate. How will they talk about this particular ice cream, to their parents, or to the teacher, or to their friends? So that's how do they learn social skills. Does Lego help us understand our child better and teach a thing or two about our child? That is a fantastic question. Yes, it does. In fact, I have to share an insight that we saw. So we have been running, Makersloft has been running this Lego contest for children. It happens every Sunday. It is for children between age 4 and 15 years of age. And we started it during the lockdown, in fact, because kids were all cooped up at home, and can't go to school, can't meet friends. And we could not see them. We felt terrible. So we wanted to do a joyous activity for our students, and we know a lot of them have Lego and bricks at home. So we got them to start building with with Lego. Every week we used to give some theme or some challenge to them, and then we get pictures of whatever they built, and then we would do like some sort of judging, and then we give out kind of titles like the most creative, or the best storyteller, or Lego ninja, or brick master, or that sort. And then we started to see that what they were building was was telling something about the kids of today. Like a lot of the Lego that kids were building, a lot of them had CCTV cameras. Now, I'm pretty sure when we were growing up, there were not, this wasn't something you would not probably, if people of our generation built back then, there would not be CCTV cameras. But a lot of kids would talk about safety, So, how the coronavirus epidemic is also, impacting them in how they're thinking about things, or how they were yearning to meet their grandparents. Those things were kind of coming out in their creations, the color that they used, what are the things they talk about, what do they build or not build, because we gave them very open-ended things to build, like make a gift for your mother, or lockdown in paradise. If you were locked down, what would you where would you like to be locked down in, and just the answers to those things just said so much about children. So it is really an insight into the child's mind, and it will tell you, you it will. And in fact, some of the parents, they came back and they told us every time we gave a challenge, they were like, "But ma'am, my child is 4 year old. I don't even think he understands it." And then when they saw what the child built, they were amazed. I mean, parents have come back and told us, I cannot believe my child is so creative. I cannot believe my child understands this concept, like time machine. Like, we did not think, 4 year old kids understand the concept of time machine, but they can be, they did, and they made amazing things. So yes, it is a kind of, sometimes when these things are happening, like the pandemic, or there is, sickness or death, kids might not be able to explain, or they might not have the vocabulary to tell you about it. But the Lego creation would possibly tell you, would give you a glimpse into the internal kind of emotional or mental state. So that's a very good question. Okay, so Mansi is asking how to keep them creatively involved. Any classes or anything you recommend? Yes, like I said, you can leave them alone with bricks, but then we have seen that a lot of children who've been working with bricks for many years, they don't understand the techniques, they don't have the vocabulary, they just might be building the same thing over and over again. I mean, it kind of reminds me of like in drawing in our time. I don't know, does anybody remember this kind of drawing? Like, I have made so many of these drawings in my life, right? Mountain, sun, tree, house. I don't know how many of these made. So you make these things, repetitive stuff. If you don't have the guidance, you're not given certain challenges, you're not able to, you're not told to think differently. So if you have a structured kind of curriculum and guidance for the child, they will benefit a lot more from building with blocks. And that's exactly what we do at Makersloft. We have structured classes for Lego building. And in fact, I am going to show you what are the different kind of Lego we have for different age groups in a bit. Let me take some more questions. How to sort Lego? That is $1 million question, and it depends upon what kind of Lego you have. We will possibly with Makersloft do another session on sorting of Lego as well. But yes, you need to sort Lego, because if you don't sort Lego, you can't build with it. You can't build intelligently with your bricks, and if you don't sort it. So you can sort it by types of Lego rather than color, I would say. So depending on the kind of pieces, especially if your child is a good builder, you will realize that they build by by the kind of pieces rather than by color. So that's how you need to. There are different boxes. Use transparent boxes to store your bricks so that you can see what is where, and try to have multiple boxes for things where for the different kind of Lego. Okay, for how long, Seema is asking me, how long should we allow kids to play with blocks in a day? My kid, when they sit with blocks, they just don't want to leave and play with something else, which is right. And I don't think there is any harm in it. Like, you're not worried about screen time over here, right? When your child is playing with blocks. And this is something that a lot of parents want, right? They have the focus, the concentration, the attention span. So they are mindful, right? This is a big thing that we talk about in today's age, about mindfulness. So kids literally are in a Zen mode, or even even when I build, like, we're in a Zen mode when we build, right? So there is no really harm in letting them play for longer periods of time, because again, it's not like screen, it's not harming the eyes, it's not causing any discomfort. Of course, as long as they're eating, bathing and doing their activities, I don't see really a problem in that. Somebody says my daughter is 17 months and I have bought building blocks for her, but she keeps throwing them around the house. Do you think toddlers in their own way learn something from these building blocks? Yes. So it depends upon how do you introduce blocks to the kids, right? Typically, most kids are very attracted with colorful things, and if they're throwing it away, might also be a way for them to engage with it because they like the sound of it or they see what happens with it. So in fact, this question takes me to what kind of block should you have for different age groups. So blocks are available from 1 year upwards. So 17-month-old baby should definitely be able to, play with blocks. So I'm going to show you. So there are some of these blocks that are available in the market. They are like a little flexible. So if you see, like I can, they're not very, but they have like some flexibility. Okay. So this is good for the younger kids because then they don't hurt themselves. There are no sharp edges, and even if they kind of put it next to the face or something, they don't scratch themselves. So this is something good that you might want to, like, if you have kind of 1 to 2 year olds, this is something that you can check. This, I know it is available in the market if you want to see maybe on FirstCry website. That is available. And then for the older kids, you get these kind of blocks that I've been showing. It's available by many companies. There is Mega Blocks, there is Lego. We use a lot of Lego because it's expensive, but it's good even if a child puts it in the mouth or something. This is not something that is harmful. Lego is a brand that is 90-year-old, so they're pretty careful about the quality of the stuff. So you get these kind of bricks. I showed you these kind of other bricks that are available as well, with which you can make construction sets. So you get blocks in different kind of colors and different themes like construction or animals and birds and cafe, and the different kind of themes bring out the storytelling side in children. Now they're also available in this market, some ready-made animals and blocks like this, like banana, and you see this penguin over here, or like elephant. So you get blocks like this, but I mean these are ready-made animals. If you were spending money, and if I had to choose, I would suggest not to buy ready-made animals. Rather, you buy blocks for them, and then blocks either come with cards, or you can find cards where they make the animals themselves, right? Let them make, because when they make an elephant by themselves, they will learn so much more than just playing with a ready-made elephant. They will learn so much more. I mean, of course, over here also they see the different parts of the animal, but when you have to put together an elephant, I mean, I can give this task to where's the elephant? I can give this task to any of us over here as well, and we're gonna then we have to make an elephant with bricks or blocks. We're gonna kind of struggle with it. So there are these kind of kits, and then there are some kits that we use which come with like the education kits, which with which you can teach science, technology, engineering, maths. We teach simple machines. We teach physics. And we teach math through that. So that's those are great as well. And then for the older kids, as kids become older, you don't work with this bigger blocks, but you work with the smaller bricks. And I'm going to show you examples. You've probably seen this is what is the typical Lego brick, but you get other brands as well, or non-branded stuff as well. I know somebody is saying Lego is expensive, and but there are many alternatives available in the market. So if you want to check, you can check online. I'm sure they are available. So these are the kind of blocks that they start playing with next. So I would say this is definitely before 7 years, but by 7 years they should not be playing with those bricks, because by this time they have better fine motor control. So they should be playing with smaller blocks like this. Now, the bricks and blocks of today are much more advanced, in fact, than what was available. Now, the bricks and blocks come with what we call, motors and sensors and hubs and electronics, so that you can actually make things. I made a cooling fan over here, which runs on battery. And then you don't just make it like this. You can actually code it, or you can program it. Yes. 4-year-olds can program or code, And if you're interested to know more, check out Makersloft website for it. So children can actually program this on a tab, that when they program it, this could run, So they learn about motors and sensors and all of that. And some people ask me, why should a child learn about motors and sensors? Hey, every child is exposed to all of these technologies. When they go in an elevator, all kids know if you put your arm out, it won't get squashed in the doors, reverse parking of cars. So their sensors and motors are used in every aspect of life. It's very unfortunate that our education system hasn't incorporated it. So, but with these kind of block kids, they get exposed to these concepts much early on, and I cannot tell you how much children like it, and you will not believe how they pick it up. And then they learn coding with this, which is also all logical thinking. Coding is equal to logical thinking is equal to math. So if your child is good in math and coding, they will be good in in doing this as well. So, and then you can buy the much more complex sets where they learn a little bit more about design and engineering, these kind of things. So where you learn about hinges and all this kind of stuff. And then remember, I told you we teach even up to 15 years of age. So 15 years of age is not doing simple building. They are in fact making robots. So this is what 15-year-olds, in fact, we start this from approximately 9 to 10-year-old. They are building robots. So this is all blocks, yeah? This is all blocks. This is all Lego block, in fact. This is the this is the brain of the robot. And this is the eye, it's an infrared sensor. So, unlike human beings, robots don't have eyes, so they see through the sensors. And there is a, motor over here, which will make this move. And there is a light sensor, color sensor here. There is a light sensor over here. So children actually learn robotics using, this is also blocks and bricks, okay? So don't confuse by thinking that this is only blocks. No, blocks are much more evolved. They come with a lot more electronic parts and sensors, as I just showed you. So how do they build this kind of things? It takes a lot more complexity than building that little car that I showed you, right? So, but your children can go from this to this in a few years only, and they can program this, and they can make robots that can, that they can follow a line. It can, when you put your hand in front of it, it stops. So they learn robotics, and as you know, robotics is an important thing because we are living in a world that is, getting more and more smart and intelligent, and there are robots, everywhere. I know during lockdown, many people might have bought that a bot that cleans your house as well, right? So that's about blocks. I'm going to take a few more questions. Let's see. Okay, so it uses, so somebody's talking about difficult to use the non-brick and non-plate pieces apart from the manual guide. I myself do not understand how to use them creatively. Any help on that? Yes, Jyoti, I understand the challenge. A lot of parents are not familiar with the blocks and bricks. And so how do you help your child with that? And that's kind of, where we come in. We do have structured programs where we teach kids. I know, our generation, we did not grow up with bricks and blocks. So yes, we do have structured programs, and where kids starting from 2 years to 15 years, they will learn different science, technology, engineering, math, robotics, coding, so on and so forth with blocks. Okay, let's see what other questions are there. So it's 4:40, and I guess I'm kind of mostly done with my presentation. So I am doing, I know there were a lot of questions about blocks and what kind of bricks to use, and what brand, etc. I am doing a session tomorrow about, for parents, because many of our parents have come back to us as well. And now, especially that your child is at home, building with blocks and bricks is a great activity. So if you're interested to know more, I just kind of showed you some kind of blocks today. But if you want to know what specifically you should buy for your child, where you can find it, what is available in India, I am doing a session tomorrow, August 15 at 11 a.m. So I will put my website over there and or a phone number, and then you can contact us on that. And then we can talk a lot more about, buying these pieces. So Jyoti has a question. I may not have all the pieces if you're doing an online program. So we do guide you on that. So we can talk more about that. We do ask pictures of what you have, and based on that, we can, kind of recommend. We have a lot of lessons, so our lessons can be customized to based on what you have at home. There are some things that are kind of mandatory, and we guide you on that as well. Mansi has a question: which blocks do you recommend and how to choose the right one? Yes, Mansi, exactly. If you want to know more, I'm doing a session tomorrow, August 15 at 11 a.m. It will be a Zoom session where you can ask all of these questions, and I will, I will try and answer on, what block to buy for what age group, how many parts, what theme, because, mostly I have seen a lot of the buying decision for blocks and bricks is based on what your child is recommending. And children mostly go by what they like. They might like a superhero, or they just might want to buy a vehicle all the time, or the Disney princess. While it's good to buy one of those sets, but then you have to think a little bit more smartly. A lot of these bricks and blocks are expensive. They are also an investment. If you have multiple children, you have to be smart about how to buy it. So if you are one of the parents who feels overwhelmed or confused by the number of options, tomorrow's session is for you. So do log on to makersloft.in, and then you can find more details about it. I'm going to leave my contact number, so you can also, WhatsApp on that number and know more about tomorrow's session. So Salil has a question: how do you do workshops online on a regular basis? Yes, we do regular classes. We have classes running through the week. We have hundreds of children who are, learning these skills with us, including using with blocks, from across India, from Ahmedabad, Kolkata, Bangalore, Mumbai, Gurgaon, and of all ages. We are doing online classes for 4 to 15 years. So if you're interested, do get in touch with us. We will do a demo session, and then that will give you an idea about how we do our classes. I will put my phone number over here, and then you can contact me on this number. And yep, you can contact me on this number, and then and ask more questions. And in any case, I am going to look at the comments section to see if I have missed any questions. So feel free to put up your questions over there. Any other points? Anything else you would like to know? Let me see. Thank you, Salil, for your nice words. Okay. So FirstCry, I think we are good. Once again, thank you so much for giving me this platform to interact with parents. I know some of them joined live, and hopefully some of them will be able to watch the recorded session. So thank you again. I hope I was able to answer your questions. And if you still have more questions, if I missed out something, please leave it in the comments, and I will try and answer them. And some of you, I hope to see you in the brick and blocks buying session tomorrow. Thank you so much. This is Meghna from Makersloft. I'll put our website again. We do conduct regular programs, and apart from workshops, so feel free to contact us. Thank you, FirstCry. This is Meghna signing off right now. Bye-bye.